Saturday night, and TNN Motor Madness is on the air. Once again, going out to Peoria, Illinois for the Monster Truck Challenge. You're getting to know these guys real well. We're going to keep it that way. Katie Haas, Randy Pemberton, welcome in. Glad to have you. You know, we were in Des Moines, Iowa last week, and it was very, very chilly. But and it proved to be pretty much a fight to the finish for King of the Hill at the Veterans Memorial Auditorium. But if you're like me, you're probably wondering just how the heck that event was scored. Well, I know I was. So what we thought we'd do this week is a little research. And here's what we came up with. You want to run a monster truck? First off, first rule, go fast.
You got to go fast, Katie.
Yeah, well, you know, that's kind of a simple rule, but sometimes quite difficult. Rule number 2, stay on all fours. You know, that's another one.
Rule number, that's no good.
No, you want to stay on all fours and not, well, you know, do stuff like that and get a little wild, a little hairy.
My favorite rule?
What's that?
Coming up.
This one, don't stall in the sippy hole?
The sippy hole?
The sippy hole. Wait a minute. Who came up with that one? That's swamp buggies. The strange oddball of racing.
Oh, no. Actually, the rules are a little more in-depth than that. So for a little more detailed look at what it will take to win tonight in Peoria, let's take it out to Ralph Shaheen and Mike Galloway. We're standing by in another chilly Peoria, Illinois.
Burr, Randy, are you not off the money with that? It was 56 below last week in Des Moines, 44 below with the wind chill factor here today in Peoria, Illinois. But we're ready to go racing. You know, the monster trucks have always lived in the limelight with the fans, but the pro arena trucks got a taste of that, didn't they? Let's take it to our professor of truckology, Mike Galloway.
Absolutely, Ralph. They got a big taste of it after last weekend's live performance. Randall Harling and Roy Fisher, well, they used to have to worry about the trucks just going fast and how they were going to handle. Well, they've had autographs, phone calls from people they haven't heard from in 10 years, so the pressure's that much stronger this time. Let's go to Fred Barton. He's our man in the pits for tonight.
Thanks, Mike. It's going to be a great program tonight. In addition to the monster trucks and the pro arena trucks, we have arena cross racing tonight. That's right, 125 and 250cc motorcycles flying around this circuit fast and racing very tight. We got manufacturers like Suzuki, Honda, Yamaha, and Kawasaki. It's going to be very tough. It's going to be a great program. Back to you, Ralph.
All right, Fred, thanks, and welcome to TNN Motorsports. We're getting the floor ready to go racing, and in just a few minutes, Katie and Randy, we're going to be set to go with monster trucks, pro arena trucks, and the high-flying annex of arena cross.
Well, Ralph, I know those guys are excited to go again tonight. I'm looking forward to it. How about you?
Oh, it's going to be some great action. Now, the monster trucks aren't the only trucks getting ready to go racing this weekend. Down in Orlando, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series will kick off their season tomorrow with the running of the Chevy Truck Challenge 200. And guess who's standing by down there for us? It's our own Eli Gold. And when we come back, Eli is going to talk with the 96 Series champion, Ron Hornaday Jr.
At the Peoria live monster truck action from Peoria, Illinois. I'll tell you, any kid that's watching tonight that has ever dreamed about driving one of these multi-ton monsters, let me introduce you to a man that has had that same dream. His name is Dan Runty, and he's the man behind the wheel of the truck that the whole world knows as Bigfoot.
The monster truck driver, aggressive and daring, or just crazy. Dan Runty, the most aggressive, daring, and crazy of them all, has dominated all other drivers, standing atop of the sport since 1993. The 32-year-old native of Freeport, Illinois, handles the controls of BIGFOOT 14 and is the latest in a long line of dominating drivers in the Bigfoot fleet.
As far as driving Bigfoot, it's one of the greatest trucks out. We all know that. I mean, the guys that work there, I wouldn't want to work on any other monster truck just because I know myself that it's the greatest team to work for.
Dan drove his BIGFOOT 14 to back-to-back Pen-to-Point Series titles in 95 and 96, setting a record with 8 victories in both campaigns, and is also the winningest driver since the 93 season with 24 victories. But the road to that success was a long one. Dan had to pay his dues within the Bigfoot organization under Bob Chandler's tutelage.
As far as when Bob, actually let me drive or, decided that I was going to drive, it was neat, and I felt really great about it. Shortly after that, I did a tour with United Sports of America in Australia for 3 months. So as far as practice and learning, I couldn't ask for a better trip.
I picked Dan because first place, he's number one in the Pen-to-Point Series. He's the winningest driver in their series. He's won the last 2 years in a row. He's young. He's a very experienced driver because just watching him, he gets himself out of situations where another driver might have wrecked or roll over.
We get along pretty good. We're good friends. We're both farm boys. So, but when it comes to racing, we're very competitive, and we don't show any mercy with each other. But he's got a good team behind him. He's got the best that money can buy.
The decision to add Runty to the Bigfoot family has proven to be beneficial for both Dan and the Bigfoot team. The MTRA's Driver of the Year in '93 and '95 has enjoyed the success, but is determined and focused to keep the Bigfoot dynasty alive and kicking.
The truck's known #1. I mean, we try to keep it #1, and I couldn't ask for better.
Boy, the only thing I can relate that to would be like driving for Richard Petty after he retired.
That'd
Bob Timlin.
be the way to go, no doubt about it. But hang on to your steering wheel, folks, because we got the action coming up. The monster trucks invade Motor Madness next. Friday nights, we're here with you, bringing all kinds of action from all across the country. It's Katie Haas and Randy Pemberton, and now we're going to go out to Peoria.
Oh, yeah. Well, wake the kids, call the neighbors, because the monster trucks are coming up. Ralph Shaheen, Mike Galloway, we're looking forward to it.
Oh, we are too, Randy. The Peoria Civic Center is where we are. It's 44 below outside, but ready to get pretty warm inside here, Mike. You know, we brought you monster trucks for the first time live on national television last week from Des Moines, and it was a thrilling show.
Before the finish line, and let's take a look.
Looks like EQUALIZER was... Whoa! We got a big problem for the Executioner.
The Executioner, and that is something that is just unbelievable. I've never seen this kind of thing happen.
Well, that was a big problem for Executioner last week. I think we got a big problem for the rest of the competition here tonight, Mike.
Called Bigfoot, maybe?
Yeah.
Blue Ford truck, when you kick that out of the trailer, you got competition. He's not by himself tonight. We've got 4 great trucks. New truck we haven't seen, well, a Virginia Giant, Deal Wilson out of Winchester, Virginia. Deal's going to be good. He's a strong running Ford. All in all, Ralph, probably one of the best classes we've had.
TNN Motorsports fans last week, for the first time ever, saw Pro Arena trucks. Now, this was a class we didn't really know what we were going to get, but we had a lot of fun once we got them out on the track. Just a wild show with the smaller trucks, and we expect nothing but the same here tonight. Now, Rory Fisher almost put it to the big dogs last week. Can he do it here tonight?
You got to love it. It's a 4-cylinder stock Toyota flatbed on it. This truck is great. He says it's stock. Well, I don't know. It runs real well. I think this track will be favoring him quite a bit because it's a small track. It's liable to rut up towards the end. It's still wet from being outside and being cold. If that happens, they're going to have to watch themselves. They have a tendency to stop over on their side.
Well, Fred Barnson's going to be roaming the pit area for us. Have you caught up to Roy, Fred?
I got him right here, Ralph. This guy's got the fire in the belly. Roy, last night you're 0.2 of a second away from taking second place. What are you going to do this week to run faster?
Well, I added a coat of wax to the truck, and I think I'm going to try to hit 3rd gear, right? That way, maybe make the 1st place.
Now, what's your strategy tonight to really make an impact?
It's a pretty long course. These guys with the V8, you know, they give me a hard race, so I'm definitely going to have to shift. That's all there is to it.
You're a wacky, wild guy with the fire in the belly. Back to you, Ralph.
Well, Fred, when it comes to Pro Arena truck racing, you don't need a wind tunnel. All you need is a really good, slick wax to go racing and maybe pick up a win. We're coming back to Peoria Civic Center right after this. We're going to kick things off with the monster trucks, Pro Arena trucks, and Arena Cross right after this. The Peoria Civic Center here in Peoria, Illinois. There you get a good look at the Virginia Giant sitting on the other side of the cars as we get set to go racing here with the Monster Truck Challenge as we work our way towards what we call the King of the Hill. Now here's how we score the King of the Hill. 60 points for first, and then it progressively goes back down from that all the way down to 4th since we have 4 trucks with us here tonight. But they'll score points in 2 different events tonight, Mike.
They're going to score points in the obstacle course. We'll take those points from the obstacle course, and then after the drag racing has completed, we'll take the points from the drag racing, and it is the same setup that you see here. Add those together and be king of the hill. Now, theoretically, a man could have some problems in the obstacle course. Win the drag racing, be king of the hill. You don't have to win both of them, but it sure would help.
And this is important because it sets you up for a bye when we get to the final event of the year, which is at Indianapolis, the big event, the Super Bowl for these guys. The only guy who is qualified for the bye so far is Dragon Slayer from last week in Des Moines.
and he's not here tonight, but we've got a lot of good trucks. Take a look at the course route. This is a little bit different. You leave together. Each one of them is going opposite directions. They go over the first set of cars in a chase situation. Then you go around a big pole on the end of it. The other set of cars, you'll actually leave on this set of cars. For instance, Samson will leave on this set of cars, and when he finishes, it will be on the same set of cars. He'll go around the arena, and that's why they call it the obstacle course. We got a lot of obstacles tonight.
Absolutely. This will be the first form of competition. It is not anything but single elimination. You either win and move on, or you lose and you go to the loser's bracket. We will have a consolation race in the loser's bracket in this division, of course, because we'll have to see who gets third.
Third and fourth, and those points will be very important. You know, third place is super good. There's Theo Wilson out of Winchester, Virginia, runs a body shop in Winchester, Virginia. This guy started out in truck pulling, had the Virginia Giant in truck pulling, later on converted over, went to monster trucks, and has been very successful. The motor in this truck is built by one of the most famous AA gas people in America, Ohio George Montgomery. I mean, he's just a legend in drag racing.
Absolutely, and of course the other truck building up to legendary status, the first of the 3D trucks, Samson.
I like Dan Patrick's truck. It handles extremely well. Big, bad, blown Hemi in the back of it. Dan has got a lot of technology in the truck, and he really, really tweaks the truck well. Changed the fuel pump on it, put a fresh fuel pump on it from last week. He was disappointed he didn't win last week. He told me later on that he ran the truck after the fuel pump change. This truck hooked. He said, Mike, 2 passes. I was on the concrete with this truck leaving the starting line. So he's building just buku of horsepower, a lot of horsepower tonight in Samson.
Well, I think the thing that is interesting is the fact that Ohio George Montgomery is as well known to motors, and of course Dan Patrick is that well known when it comes to chassis for these monster trucks. You know, if you like what you're seeing here on TNN tonight, you've got to see the USA Motorsports Show in person. Now, 2 weeks from now, those of you in Portland, Oregon, and Denver, Colorado, will get a chance to do just that. January 31st through February 2nd, the Monster Truck Challenge will be at the Portland Rose Garden and the Denver Coliseum. Make sure you come on out and catch USA Motorsports live and in person. I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed. Well, we are just moments away from getting underway with our first race of the night. What do you like in this one?
Oh, don't put me on the bubble like that, but no doubt about it, I think I'm going to have to go to the Samson truck. Ran this course last week, changed the motor just a little bit, did a couple of burnouts a while ago, just checking the track and kind of getting the cars prepped, and it showed a lot of horsepower right off the line.
The other thing about this, if you're watching monster truck racing for the first time, this is a pretty busy cockpit as you get a look at it right there. The drivers not only steer from the front, but from the back.
And this is a two-handed situation. Most of the drivers steer with the right hand, and then over on the left side of the truck, and this is just some of the drivers, left side, whichever makes them comfortable, there's a toggle switch. Lean it forward, the tires will turn to the back, right in the back. Lean it the other way, they'll turn to the left. It is a situation where you're steering the front and the back of it. And if you don't do that, you're not going to be able to get around these curves that we've got here tonight, the very tight courses that we have. That's Dale Wilson with his big Ohio George Montgomery Ford motor. Dale is, you mentioned it, in the paint and body business. That's why you're going to see a truck as pretty as his. It is beautiful. Well, that is the sound that we've been waiting on, Ralph. It's horsepower time.
Those big alcohol motors starting to come to life as we get set to go with the first round of obstacle course racing. We've got 2 Fords and 2 Chevys. The Virginia Giant, of course, one of the big Ford F-250s, a 1995 edition. Dale Wilson's machine, and then Dan Patrick out there with the big Samson Chevy.
Well, the Patrick is ready to go.
Now, they both came out and packed down a little bit in the first car. Both rolled up a couple of times to get the launching pad set to go.
Well, you said it right, Ralph. The launching pad it is. They'll be airborne off the first car. They will clear all 5 cars, and then they need to land and fire down. Dale Wilson leads just a little bit. Samson out in front. Samson's got about half the truck on him. Dale's having some problems. The truck just not running the way it should. Picking up the left front tire.
He's got all kinds of problems for Dale Wilson and the big Virginia Giant, and it looks like Samson is going to easily move on now to round number 2 and a shot at the win here in the obstacle course, and it's very important 60 points.
Dan Patrick would love to win this. It would take part of the pressure of it. Here's Samson. He turns, great turns, a little bit of horsepower, a lot of air. I think at that time he sees that Deal's in trouble. Deal is down at the other end of the track. I think Dan sees he's in trouble. He backs out, just lands real easy.
So the big biceps will move on to the final round of the obstacle course. And who will he match up against? Now there you see it, that big blue Ford, BIGFOOT. It is known throughout the world. It is the thing that got monster trucks going and really brought them to the forefront. This truck is as well known around the world as just about any race car on the planet.
Okay, Ralph, I drove BIGFOOT 4.
Not very well, I'm sure.
Well, I thought that I flew over the car. I didn't, but I did get over the car.
Well, I guarantee you it's going to fly here tonight.
It will fly here tonight. They got great driver. Dan Runty sits in the seat on this truck, and Gary Saline is here. He's the horsepower builder for this truck. There's a truck out of Springfield, Tennessee. It's all Chevrolet front to back. This young man, privateer, but really does a great job with it. He's tough. He really is tough.
Here's a good look at the equalizer. The stats on this big truck, 540 cubic inches, pumping out 1,400 horsepower, living on alcohol.
Takes just a little bit longer to warm an alcohol motor up. You want to run them just a little bit warm. A gas motor, you run cool, it builds more horsepower. Got to get these motors warm. It's cold outside. They've been inside for a while, but it still takes some time to warm them up. Runty out in front. Now let's see what happens. This is really close at this time. Very, very close. Now the turn. I believe Equalizer's in the lead.
Can you believe that?
Rattle the rafters. I think we have had an upset.
That is huge. Equalizer has put it to BIGFOOT. And I guarantee you Dan Patrick got a big sigh of relief out of that.
Oh, no doubt about that. But here's the thing about it. They're going to be down tweaking it. They got to go again in just a few minutes. They definitely want to run third. They're going to have to come back and run the Virginia Giant.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, he got around the first corner good.
But he missed as far as the cars. The truck goes over the cars. See how it lands with the side of it down. I think that hurt him. Then it comes off. It bounces a little bit. He can't get around the cars the way we would like to. Here's the finish. White pole in the middle. And what is that? Truck link he beat him?
He got smoked, to put it blankly.
What a great finish.
Wow. So BIGFOOT will go on to the Consi round of the obstacle course. Arena Cross getting set to come out. The motorcycles making their way out onto the by USA Motorsports. And look to their efforts to making themselves king of the hill here tonight in Peoria.
That was the only thing left that they could do, Ralph. They actually was in a situation where they had to win that round.
Here's a look at him getting over the turn.
See what Runty's done when the truck came off of that set of tires. The rear tires were turned, the front tires were turned. He actually had the truck set up to finish the race when he came off that set of cars.
The Virginia Giant will take the 30 points and get set for the drag racing portion of the program yet to go.
I like the paint job on that Virginia Giant.
A good-looking truck. One of the higher setting trucks in the business of monster truck racing. Now Samson came real close to becoming king of the hill last week in Des Moines. He's got a real good shot to get a stranglehold on the position right now, but the equalizer has already put away BIGFOOT. That's got to worry old Dan Patrick a little bit.
I think Patrick tuning this motor, changing the fuel pump last weekend, putting a fresh pump on it, putting a little more pressure in it. This is in car with Theo Wilson. Unstrapping.
Watching from inside the Virginia Giant.
That's a safe place to be.
Yeah, not bad.
Who do you like, Ralph?
You know that equalizer truck could be on a roll tonight. He got a good start.
Boy's driving this course beautiful. Look at the power. Look at this. He is so on go for this course.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if they'd gone one more time around, he'd have lapped him.
The truck ran extremely well. I have to give the truck that. But you've got to give David Morris credit for driving this track the way he did. Off the cars, tires cut to the left. On the cars, off the cars, tires cut to the left again. He is absolutely smoking tonight.
Watch this. Here's Samson.
A lot of power. Dan doesn't do anything wrong. He said he doesn't pop the rear tires coming off the cars. He waits till the truck lands.
Look at that.
He on a roll, Ralph?
He was half a lap ahead of it, Mike.
Ralph,
no doubt about it.
You know this business. You called that one before the race ever started.
Oh, my. Well, the equalizer. Now, this is what I find really interesting. Last week, Dragon Slayer comes out of the mix, claims King of the Hill, has the buy in Indy. What if Equalizer comes into Peoria, puts away Samson, puts away Bigfoot? He'll have a buy. The biggest trucks in the business right now are sitting on the side, staring at the fact they might have to run round number 1 at Indy.
Oh, that would be a pressure situation now. Well, here's the way it all sifts out this evening. Equalizer on top and Samson in the number 2 spot.
So 60 points to Equalizer, 50 to Samson. Will set 40 points to Bigfoot and 30 to the Giant. Wow.
They're going to carry all of those into the drag racing portion of this competition.
Well, Fred has made his way over to a very excited, I would believe, driver of the Equalizer. Fred?
Thanks, Ralph. Yeah, I got Dave Morris here. Dave, you're all over that thing.
Yeah, we're getting hot out here now. We're starting to figure out the course a little bit. So, you know, we done good in the roundy round. We'll see what we do in the straight line.
Now, what do you got up your sleeve for the straight line?
Well, you know, hopefully we just got the motor set and the clutch and everything where we can pull a good hole shot. We're running against some major horsepower here, so we're a little bit under horsepower for the straight line, but hopefully we'll get it.
Hey, well, that's Dave Morris in the Equalizer running hot tonight.
Well, I think he's going to be a strong contender in the drag racing portion of the program because his truck's been launching well, but the truck that really did launch well early on, didn't turn real good, but launched real well, was the Bigfoot truck. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that as we get set for the drag racing portion of the Monster Truck Challenge yet to go here from the Peoria Civic Center. Hey, we've got the final event of the Arena Cross yet to go, and we've got one more round of competition with the Pro Arena trucks as well. That'll take care of the mid-portion here in Peoria. Let's head back to Charlotte where it's a little bit warmer, I got to believe, inside that studio, huh, guys? Now, those of you in Portland and Denver will get a chance to do just that. January 31st through February 2nd, the Monster Truck Challenge will be roaring into the Portland Rose Garden and the Denver Coliseum. So make sure you come out and check it out. I know my buddy Mike is going to make his way to the Fargo Dome.
I want to go to Fargo. That's just, you know, I thought we've been cold the last 2 weeks. I've gone over the schedule. I'm going to the Fargo Dome.
I just like the name, Fargo Dome.
The only thing I've seen that looks like it might be warm is down in Texas, Beaumont, when we go down there.
Yep, we'll be going to Beaumont, Texas. We'll be bringing you that on TNN. We're going to have the Monster Truck Challenge from Memphis later this year as well. We'll be going to Kansas City, and we'll be wrapping it all up with a big Super Bowl of our competition from Indianapolis. It should be a great season of Monster Truck Racing live on TNN's Motor Madness. Now, we're shifting gears, if you will say, and making our way into the drag racing portion of the Monster Truck Challenge. A whole nother series of points up for grabs here. 60 points to the winner of this one as well.
Ooh, and the man with the 60 points in his hand right now is the truck out of Tennessee. Here's two guys that have just absolutely, these are must-wins. It's Vance every time. He's got to go a little bit more, a little further. Showed that graphic with Deal being an NTPA, a National Tractor Puller. He was a Grand National Truck Puller with the Virginia Giant.
So Dan Patrick in the far lane, and it's the Virginia Giant in the near lane.
And he was also a tractor puller. So we got a couple of ex-tractor pullers moved over to Monster Truck Racer. Oh, good shot. This is going to really show what goes on.
This is all down to getting that truck to squat down on the track and get a good drive out of the dirt.
Absolutely leave hard. That's what you
Well, the Giant took off pretty good.
He left hard.
Boy, did he ever.
That was a very close race right at the finish also.
The Giant gets credited with the win. So he'll move on to the finals. Now he's staring at a minimum of 50 points, so he's in great shape. Let's take a look at the replay here. Look how good the Virginia Giant leaves. Look at that.
That truck transfers weight. It's a close race, but Deal really, just noses the SAMSON truck out a couple of inches.
The problem SAMSON had, Mike, was at the end there, he was still climbing while the nose of the Giant was crossing the line.
Also, the dirt over on the side where SAMSON left from looks like it tore up much, much more than it did on our side of the track.
Absolutely.
It could be loose on that side, and that's going to be tough on everyone. If that's the case, the Equalizer goes into that loose lane, and it could hurt him a lot.
Now, both of these trucks, Bigfoot and Equalizer, were the best levers out of the obstacle course. This is what Bigfoot needs, though. Bigfoot needs to knock Equalizer out now. Put him in the loser bracket where he can only get a maximum of 40 points. We could have a tiebreaker here.
We could do that. Very, very careful. And when we do that, we go to the winner of the obstacle course to break that tie.
Best time out of the obstacle course is what we go to.
But it's going to be close. I'd say it's a critical race right here for David.
This is huge. This could be the king of the hill on the line right here.
One thing's for sure, they've done.
What's this, Mike? We got a bit of a smoking problem going on here?
No, I think that's just a little, it's heat that's coming out of the engine. They've got tubes that come out of the valve covers and run down to the back. It's just a little steam coming out of it. He's not in any trouble.
That's the back of the Equalizer you were looking at. Here we go.
Oh,
Bigfoot, I think, huh?
I don't know.
Boy, that was close.
It was so close. Both the trucks about the same out.
We got the word. It's Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
Wow. Oh, boy. Now, if Bigfoot can go on and win the drag racing portion of this thing, we're going to have a tie. Look at this.
Well, Foot picks the front end up, and here again, I think we may be into this loose lane, that far side.
Well, I got to agree with you, Mike, because Equalizer was right there with him, and had he had just a hair better lead, it might have gone the other way. I think that lane is coming apart. That can make a big difference now in who gets which lane in the final here between Bigfoot and the Virginia Giant. The drag racing portion of the Monster Truck Challenge underway here at Peoria.
In the Snake River.
No doubt about that. Well, the only thing that's going to fly farther tonight, these guys, SAMSON and Equalizer, the first of our drag races in our monster trucks. This is the consolation race.
Being the consolation race, it is so important for the Equalizer to win this race.
Get those 40 points for finishing third. I think he can do it, too. He's got the better lane, and he's always got a good leading truck.
It's just as important for SAMSON. He's sitting in second place after the first round with 50 points. One of these guys needs the points. Both of them need them bad. All four of these trucks are just so close that this drag racing is going to make all the difference in the world.
Well, SAMSON's got to be frustrated. He didn't get the bye in the King of the Hill Award last week, losing that to Dragon Slayer, and he might not get it here.
It will be good. They're leaving with the light. Motors are way up. These guys really are intent. I think SAMSON's in the bad lane, though. That lane tore up earlier real bad when he left with it.
Oh, I think SAMSON got him. SAMSON got him, Mike. That is not what the Equalizer wanted to see.
Well, that's going to put the Equalizer with 90 points.
And here's a look at it.
Patrick picks the front end up. Well, he leaves well. He's probably a foot and a half in front of the Equalizer. Now, Ralph.
Well, that takes some of the heat off of Bigfoot here.
But Equalizer and SAMSON both have 90 points.
Well, the key to this deal now is all in Bigfoot. EQUALIZER was probably going to get the advantage in a tiebreaker because he probably would have had the quicker time from the obstacle course. But if Bigfoot can win, he'll win this thing outright now.
If the Giant wins, we are in a four-way tie. We will go to the obstacle course.
Unbelievable. And that's quick time out of the obstacle course. The best ET from running the obstacle course is what would break the tie.
If Bigfoot wins this, he wins it outright. He's king of the hill tonight.
And gets a bye when we make our way to Indianapolis, the big Super Bowl to wrap up our Monster Truck Challenge, our 7-race series.
And Ralph, he does it the hard way.
Boy, Bigfoot came here looking to win King of the Hill and get that bye. If he can win this drag race against the Virginia Giant, two Fords going at it, Bigfoot will get that bye. So important when we make our way to Indianapolis. The Giant has a good shot of knocking him off, though, but he's got the lane that's not as good right now.
Well, Ralph, during break, a few moments ago, they brought out a big Caterpillar, hacked that down and worked that starting line just a little bit. That may be something that is really showing up now. There may be a little more traction over there than originally planned.
Well, we can't count the Giant out because he did knock off the EQUALIZER, who we said going into this was a great leaving truck.
Dale Wilson's a good driver. He is quick on the line.
It's Foot.
That didn't take long.
It's Foot. Bigfoot gets the win. Bigfoot will be crowned King of the Hill. They came here looking to do that, and they have accomplished their goal. It was a little bit tougher for them than they expected, but Bigfoot will get a bye at Indianapolis.
Well, that's why you've got to perform well in both classes to win it. Bigfoot did well in the drag racing. It didn't do well in the obstacle course. That doesn't make any difference. What makes the difference is he's setting with 100 points.
I'll tell you what, Bigfoot came out and won the drag racing in classic Bigfoot fashion. Here's a look at the way to Indy. The King of the Hill will stack up this way. Dan Runty. The Bigfoot gets the win in our Monster Truck Challenge. Joe Brozovich, Brozo's Bronco, gets the win in the Pro Arena trucks. What a great performance by Bigfoot here in the drag racing portion, putting away the EQUALIZER and then putting away the Virginia Giant. Let's take a shot out of Peoria and head back to Charlotte as we wrap things up here. We got a few more things for you, though, folks. We're not done here in Peoria. Randy, Katie, what'd you think of Bigfoot's performance here in Peoria?
Wow, the come from behind, but the star of the night is going to be Jumpin' Joe Brozovich.
Oh, man, what a...
Let's go down to Fred.
It ran great, but you had a slow start.
Yeah, we were a little slow starting. You know, me and the truck didn't quite get it together. The Ford Bigfoot, you know, Firestone tires, it helps us out in these small buildings. It makes it tough. Took number one here in the end again.
Good. King of the Hill again. Back to you, Ralph.
Thank you, Fred. For Fred Barston, for our winners, Bigfoot and Joe Brozovich's Bronco. For Mike Galloway, I'm Ralph Shaheen. You're flying high with Bigfoot here in Peoria, where we wrap things up. Thanks for everybody here in Peoria. Back to Katie and Randy.
Great job, guys.
Nice job.
Wonderful action there. And we'll be right back here in our studios in Charlotte for TNN Motor Madness.